Hello and welcome to the Boys Upstairs show. This is the Super Wild Card Weekend show.
Woo!
It's the best time of the year. It's playoff football. Uh, we've got
Playoff football.
we've got some fantastic games on the slate. We're gonna
Yeah,
get
we
started,
do.
we're gonna get it started here with Chargers Texans in Houston.
Hell yeah.
Chargers are favorites on the road, minus 2.5. Totals 42 and a half.
Hold on, hold on. Can we just give and extend a warm welcome to a new, not new, but like fairly unfamiliar face back to the show.
Well, I mean, he only interrupted me like 15 times there, but yeah, Sandy is allowed to give picks
It
now.
wasn't more like it wasn't an interruption. It was more like a hype up. It was
Yeah,
like
no, I got you.
I was like your ad lib. If you're like a rapper, I was like a mama kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Congrats to Sandy. He's allowed to give picks now. He's no longer an NCAA athlete. So
And
Hell
he's not
yeah.
he's not in the portal. He's not in the portal.
Well, potentially I am. I'm still waiting for Bama and Ohio State to call me back. But other than that, I can make picks now.
First playoff game. I'm excited, been waiting. I feel like the Texans are being slightly disrespected. I know they've had a not the year that they were supposed to. Everyone fell in love, including myself. I'm definitely at fault for this. Fell in love with the CJ Stroud hype train. We saw what he did in just his rookie year. And everyone was like thinking of the possibilities. Wow, he's like this in his rookie year. What is he going to do for the next year, the rest of his career? Oh, they're going to get better. They get Stephon Diggs. Oh my God. And there were some injuries. They didn't play as well. You could say a bit of a sophomore slump for CJ Stroud. Still a pretty solid year, but from what we saw last year, a little slump. But I feel like they're being slightly disrespected. Chargers are a great team. Herbert is proven people that he still might be a decent quarterback. Is this his first playoff game?
aside
Second?
from the 30-point blow,
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, okay, second playoff game. But I think when it comes to the playoffs and you're really focusing in, I think their lack of weapons is kind of going to show. Yes, Lad McConkey's having a stud year. They completely overperformed. Harbaugh in his first year did an amazing coaching job. But I think that the Texans, I trust CJ Stroud to make plays more than Justin Herbert because I've seen CJ do it in the playoffs, in the regular season. Yes, he had a down season, but all year, I feel like when they needed a play, he was making plays, even if they weren't winning. There were tons of times he made some incredible late game throws. And CJ's, we've seen him win a playoff game. He already got more wins than Justin Herbert does in the playoffs. So I feel like when it comes down to it, he's going to make a play. Nico Collins is looking like he's getting back into it after being hurt for so long. And Joe Mixon obviously had a fantastic season. They did really bad against the Ravens when they played, and then they bounced back last week against the Titans. Um, and I think that's going to carry on to the playoffs. I think that the Chargers had a good year, but I think the Texans are being slightly disrespected, and I think that they're going to come out and show that hey, we're still the Texans. We're still not to be messed with. So I'm going to take them. I believe they're plus 2.5. I would like to say the over. I feel like that even though that both these teams struggled a little bit offensively, I believe that this game, they're going to be going a little back and forth. I feel like in order for the Texans to win, like I'm predicting, I feel like CJ's got to put up some points. So I'm going to take the Texans and the over.
I just don't believe the Texans offensive line has the ability to hold up against this Chargers front. I watched we all saw the game on Christmas, and we all saw, even this past week against the Titans, the Titans front was able to disrupt CJ Stroud a little bit. And we're talking about a Chargers front that has Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Like, Texans O line will not be able to hold up for Stroud, and I feel like that has a lot to do with why he struggled a lot this year, outside of the injuries that he has at receiver. But his offensive line has been terrible, and going up against a defensive front like that doesn't help at all. So I think the Chargers are going to cover, and I think they're going to make the game ugly. They're going to run the ball. They're going to hold it. They're going to play Jim Harbaugh brand football, and just it's going to look like how they did in Michigan. He's going to run the ball. He's going to not play not conservative, but complimentary football, as they say, and Chargers are going to run away with it. So I got the Chargers.
Let's just give a little appreciation to the every other year, yearly Texans. Every game they've played, playoff wildcard history, I think, has been at what, 4:30 on a Saturday. So shout out Texans for that. You are the most boring playoff team in football. That's a nice accolade to have. Listen, The Texans were a pretty disappointing team this year for the standards that were set last year. They went to the playoffs last year, went into Baltimore, didn't really make anything happen. But hey, CJ Stroud was a rookie. This year, every preseason ranking, every insider had they're the top. They're the top notch. They're Super Bowl contenders. Stroud is the next guy. He's a top five QB in this league. And a couple injuries here and there, but every team gets hurt, and that kind of got shut down because the Texans were just pretty uninspired. And playing in that division where your biggest threat, no offense, Weiss Brothers, is the Colts, is not a very impressive feat to just win that division. And that's probably why you're playing at 4:30 on a Saturday. Chargers, great season. Jim Harbaugh, like Kobe was saying, they're gonna play Jim Harbaugh football. Smash mouth. And I was skeptical at first of how Justin Herbert, classic gunslinger, is going to adapt to that, and he did it very well. So there's my season recap for both. Um, I don't really, and I texted this to Tommy earlier. These 4:30 Texans games can get pretty crazy sometimes. We saw the 24-0 comeback or whatever with the Chiefs, however many years ago. We saw a blowout against the Browns, whatever. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but I don't see a scenario where the Chargers lose this game, especially Jim Harbaugh in the playoffs. I feel like he's hungry, he's ready to get back. I'm also going to go with the under. You guys said Nico Collins is back, and excuse me, Nico Collins is back, whatever. He's looking healthy. But elephant in the room, Tank Dell is out. Joe Mixon hasn't been himself lately. He's not been putting up the points. That offense is pretty stagnant, and the defense is good. And that's why I'm going to take the under. Both defenses are pretty solid. Actually, Texans pretty solid. Chargers very solid. But yeah, Chargers -2.5 under. I don't see this being a super exciting one. I think we're going to see a lot of smash mouth football, run the ball. Texans might take a few shots if they can hit and get lucky. They might be able to pull something off, but I don't see the Chargers dropping this.
Chargers spread.
I feel like this Texans team is being doubted because ever since Tank Dell got hurt, they haven't really looked that great, putting up 2 points on Christmas Day with everybody in the world watching. So everybody is kind of, I think, hammering the Chargers here because they're like a hot team this year with obviously John Harbaugh coming in and changing the culture. And I like the Chargers, but I just don't think that this Texans team should be home dogs in the playoffs after like the season that they've had hasn't been up to Super Bowl expectations, but they still won the division. They're still in the playoffs, and I feel like yeah, I know that I think Kobe picked them to win the Super Bowl this year. I never thought that that was a realistic expectation. Talking about the teams that you've got to beat in the AFC with the quarterbacks and the coaches in the AFC, they're definitely a young, upcoming team. Um, but I just don't think the Super Bowl expectations were realistic going in. They still are in the dance, and I think that they're going to get a win here, at least cover +2.5. If you look at last season, they won the first round of the playoffs at home in Houston against the Browns, who granted had Joe Flacco, but that defense at the time, I think everybody's kind of saying that they were the consensus number one defense in the NFL. And they took it to them in their home barn. This year, like Nixon was talking about, they're going to have to handle the pressure from the Bosa and Khalil Mack combo. But I feel like this game, if you look at it like they don't have Tank Dell, they didn't have Tank Dell last year in the playoffs either because he was hurt then too. And they switched out whoever, Damian Pierce for Joe Mixon. So I feel like in this game, Texans cover. People may be back on the Texans after this game. I don't like the total. Texans +2.5.
One take that stood out to me was Nixon. Nixon said that the Chargers they have a defensive front of Bosa and Khalil Mack. And honestly, I was gonna take the Texans initially, but after Nixon said that, it kind of made me rethink of where I think the direction that this game is gonna go. And CJ Stroud getting rushed, having to hurry up his routes, having to hurry up his throws. That's been the story of all the seasons of CJ Stroud's seasons. So Nixon is in nowhere near shape or wrong. But I also thought the same thing would happen to CJ Stroud this season. And he's been very his pocket escapability is just insane. Like it's an art to watch, honestly. And I do, even though Khalil Mack and Bosa are like probably the best pass rushers that we've ever seen in the game of the NFL, I do think CJ Stroud does have the capability and the receivers to just scramble and basically do what we thought Caleb was going to be doing this year. No
Come
shade,
on.
no shade to Caleb. No shade.
Didn't need to go there. Did not need to go there.
That was unnecessary.
He is basically doing what Caleb was doing in college on an NFL level. So with
Who?
that being said, CJ Stroud, just with his pocket is, I will say that he has no one on that team as of right now with Tank Dell and just Tank Dell being out, Stephon Diggs being out. So you do see it in the past few weeks. CJ Stroud is just he kind of understands that and he does know I got to make some shit happen now. So as long as CJ Stroud is able to make some shit happen, I'm never going to be worried about him having trouble in the pocket or him having to hurry up throws, hurry up other stuff. And he showed that within the past few weeks. So I think the Chargers are no different than any other team that he's faced within the past few weeks without his best receiver. I think that the Chargers are by no point a great defense. They could CJ Stroud could definitely make something happen with this defensive front. The DBs aren't talented at all either. So I see CJ Stroud making some plays, getting some 20, 30-yard game action plays down the field, and that's probably going to be the difference of the game for the Texans to win some Texas spread.
else did is just give their pick, and I get to do that. Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Um, except you can, fuck you can. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty new to this whole gambling thing. I don't really know what spreads are or money line is, but I guess if you want me to say, I'll take Texans with the points. I'll take Texans plus 2.5. I don't know if that's a good pick or not a good pick, but I don't know. And maybe, I don't know, say the over. I'm not really sure over under what that means, but I'll take the over in that, sure. Because I like that. That's what I like.
I'm sure you all said this, but the Texans kind of look flat right now. But they're at home, so that's a win. Uh, First off, prayers for the people of LA.
That is true. I was going to say that for the Rams game.
That's you know what? Shout out. That's awesome.
Sean beat you to it.
Good call, Sean. Good call.
But and the Rams are hot, so it's like hot versus flat,
Chargers,
kind
Chargers.
of. Yeah, the Chargers are pretty hot. Oh, I said the Rams.
Also, saying they're hot while they're dealing with wildfires is a questionable choice of words.
You're such an asshole.
Oh man.
All right. But I'm gonna take the Chargers. I don't really have any data, but they just seem like the better team. I don't know what did y'all pick?
It was pretty split. I mean, when it comes to playoff games, you kind of just got to go with your gut. So,
I guess
all right.
so.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe and tell your friends.
Ah!